Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and today we're gonna do the Game Week 4 updated wildcard draft. So there's gonna be two drafts in this video, one 4-3-3 formation and one 5-2-3 formation. And of course, if you guys do enjoy this video, please help me out and give it a like, and also subscribe if you are new around here, right? It massively helps the channel, so really appreciate it. Right, so I thought it'd be good for us to kind of start this video off by mentioning this updated quote about Erling Haaland, because he's probably one of the first few names on our Game Week 4 wildcard teams. Right, so based on Pep's latest quote, he says, "I tell you now that when we have games every 3 days, Erling Haaland is not going to play every game. Julian Alvarez is going to play." So basically, there's a huge risk now. And as a Haaland owner myself, I'm actually thinking of potentially moving Haaland out of my team, right? Because a premium player that's a risk for minutes, and also, one that we may be afraid to captain, just doesn't sit right with me at this point in time, right? So I've put out the list of Manchester City's upcoming run of fixtures, and as you guys can see, they have games every 3 to 4 days, starting from their game against Palace. Right, so I'm pretty sure Haaland doesn't play against Barca in the friendly, but I thought it'd be good to just put it in there so that we can get the whole fixture schedule for City, right? And then we can analyze it properly. So once City play Palace in Game Week 4, 4 days later they play Nottingham Forest, and if you're Pep, you're probably going to want to play Haaland in the more difficult game, which is against Palace. And then you may rest him against Forest, right? So already a red flag there, and there's potentially Villa away on 3rd September and Champions League, which then comes into the mix thereafter to make things worse, right? So when we compare this to Harry Kane, who's pretty much guaranteed 90 minutes in all of Spurs games, right? Whether there's a midweek Champions League game or a midweek EFL Cup game, right? Kane is probably going to play every minute of the Premier League games, right? Which is what we are concerned about, right? And obviously at this point in time, I just can't justify having Erling Haaland in a wildcard draft, let alone my own team, right? So I would say that he's a risky asset to own from Game Week 4 onwards, and if we are wildcarding, then I actually suggest that we are better off going with Harry Kane from the start. So next up, here's a list of the best differentials for those of us looking to have maybe one or two assets that are low on ownership right now but provide real good value, right, and can help us jump rank over our mini league rivals, right? So now, of course, don't pack your teams with all these players, right? It simply doesn't make sense. We still need the staples like maybe Cancelo, Trent, Salah, etc., right? But having one or two of these players could very well pay off. Right, so looking at the price range, we have from 8 mil all the way down to 4 mil, right? And there's Foden and Gundogan who start off at the top of this list. They're probably the two better City assets to own right now at this price range, and both are on criminally low ownership, right? But I see myself favoring Gundogan a little bit more here. His positioning is much more advanced and closer to the goal than Foden, and also his 0.5 cheaper as well. So I prefer Gundogan over Foden, right? And then there's Trossard, Harrison, Gross, and Aronson at the 6.5 to 5.5 mil bracket, right? And they've been really impressive. Really impressed with all of them, and they've been in superb form, made a case for themselves to be in this list. Great fixtures for Brighton, of course, coming up, so that bodes well for the Brighton lads, and also slightly tougher fixtures for Leeds, but they're coming off a great run of form, right? So every chance they can carry that on in the next coming games as well, right? Then at the end of the list, there's Jensen, Almiron, and Patterson, right? So once again, these are all players with very low ownership, right? Less than 10% of teams selected by, right? And all with the potential to be really spicy differentials. But do remember, right, not to load up on too many of these assets. We need our staples, right? But just in case we want some spicy differentials, here they are, right? And just one or two would be spicy enough. So we're going to look at two drafts today, right? One is the 4-3-3 draft and another the 5-2-3 draft. Looking first at the 4-3-3, we're starting out in defense with Sanchez, Cancelo, Perisic, James, and Trent, right? This is pretty much, I feel, going to be the template defense right now, right? For those of you who are wildcarding, right? Sanchez with a brilliant defensive run of fixtures. I'm expecting loads of clean sheets from him, and he's just 4.5 mil, right? And then thereafter, the defenders, the back four here, they're all the standout picks with good attacking potential as well, right? So in midfield, there's Salah, Trossard, and Martinelli, right? Salah and Martinelli are pretty much staples in most midfields right now. Salah, of course, we know he is kind of the best FPL asset, and of course, Martinelli is the best budget midfielder right now at 6.3, 6.4 mil, right? He gives the best value, right? And he has been returning consistently as well, right? And then there's Trossard to add some spice to this team, right? With the funds spread out, I'm able to afford Trossard over Gross, which is my preferred Brighton attacker, right? Once again, Brighton are top of the fixture ticker for the next 5 game weeks, so every chance that Trossard, who was Brighton's joint top scorer last season with Neil Maupay, can get some good returns here. And then up front, we have the front three of choice at this point in time, which I feel is Tony, Kane, and Jesus. Right, Tony has a brilliant run of fixtures and he's on hot form right now, returning in 3 out of his first 3 games. And then he's on penalties as well, right? So that just makes it even better, right? And then Kane over Haaland, as I explained just now earlier in the video, right? Kane obviously more guaranteed for minutes, right? And potential captaincy pick for most of the coming game weeks as well, right? And then Jesus, of course, wraps up the attack. Right, so on the bench, we have pretty much a full playing bench, right, in Ward, Andreas, Da Silva, and Neco Williams, so a fully functional bench here if we need to call on them. Right, so on to Fantasy Football Hub's Rate My Team tool, and this team gets a team rating and a game week rating of 95%. Right, this team is predicted to do really well, right, with 75 points in game week 4. Right, and over the next couple of game weeks as well, the ratings are fairly strong, right, and could be improved on with free transfers that we get every game week, right, so I'm really liking the look of this 4-3-3 draft. On to our 5-2-3 draft with a slightly lower team rating and game week rating, but one that I still really like as well. Right, I've basically taken out Martinelli and Trossard and I've just gone with Gundogan in midfield. Right, and this I feel is a massive upgrade as compared to the previous draft because the previous one doesn't have a City attacker. Right, we've gone for Kane over Haaland in both drafts. Right, and then if we go for Gundogan here, we still get some City attacker in our team, right, to get some returns here because we know the number of chances City create is just a matter of who gets those returns, and Gundogan gets himself in those good positions, right? He's basically playing as a second striker to Haaland in most games that we've kind of seen in the Premier League as well. So really like him at 7.5 mil. I think it's a really good budget option in the midfield, right? So doing this also allows me to upgrade Neco Williams to Saliba to get some defensive coverage from Arsenal, right? And the rest of the team pretty much stays the same. Right? I've got to say I like the look of both drafts, but just to mention the downside of this particular one, this 5-2-3 draft, right, is that we are pretty rigid here with the bench options, right? There's 4.5 to 4.6 mil midfielders, right? There's Andreas Pereira, Da Silva, and Reed. But honestly speaking, I don't feel like Reed and Da Silva are going to get anything more than 2 points. I don't think Da Silva especially is going to keep up his goal scoring form, right? So the only, potential valuable midfielder in those substitutes that we have there, right, is Andreas Pereira, right? So with one possibly good bench option, I don't think that that's a really flexible bench there, but still the starting 11 is really stacked, right? We may not need to rely on the bench, right, but it's pretty short on the bench, right? But apart from that, I really like this team, right? You guys can take a look at both drafts, kind of see which one you prefer, and also of course add in your own preferred players, right? These are just drafts for you to refer to, but definitely add in your own preferred picks, right? But basically I like the look of both, right? And I don't think you can get too wrong with the structure of either of these drafts. So for this last part of the video, I do want to make a small little channel announcement, and that is that channel memberships are now live. Right, a number of you guys have been asking, so I'm happy to let you know that you guys can now join as members of the channel, right? If you so wish to support the channel in this way, of course, right? Those of you who don't want to, that's obviously fine, right? Everything will stay the same for all the other subscribers as well, right? But for those of you who want to join, right, you can just click the join button next to the subscribe button if you are on the website, and of course if you are on mobile, then you can click the link in the description, right? So basically I do want to highlight some perks that you would get if you do join as a member of the channel, right? You can get fan tier perks and also pro tier perks, right? So basically for the fan tier, you get loyalty badges next to your name, custom emojis to use in your streams that we have, deadline streams, reaction streams. It basically allows me to identify you a little easier and thereafter answer your questions or any comments that you guys have, right? And also, right, you get to vote in member only polls to decide the content on the channels, right? Once again, priority replies to comments and member shoutouts in videos kind of wrap up the fan tier perks, right? So moving on to the pro tier perks, you basically get all the fan tier perks and more, or you get access to the private FPL Consult Telegram group chat, which a lot of us are in right now, and those of us who are in there, is a really nice community. We talk about FPL, we talk about a lot of the latest news as well, right? And basically it's just like a support group to kind of play FPL together and have fun, right? So if you guys are interested in that, there is also a prize league that we have there there, right? So those of you in the pro tier, you get entry into that as well, right? Apart from that, you also get personalized team feedback from me through the group chat, and also priority questions for the biggest question series, which is one of the series that I run on this channel as well, right? So if all this interests you, right, do join as a member, massively appreciated as well. But of course, if you don't want to, that's completely fine as well, right? So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, right? Massively appreciate you guys watching the videos, of course, right? And I will see you guys very soon in another video. Bye bye.